In March 2020, we woke to find the world shaking as a virus a fraction of a millimeter across shut down the globe. Our lives began to unravel as family gatherings were banned, schools and universities closed, rugby and football seasons cancelled, supermarkets rationed goods, and thousands were hospitalised and lost their lives. One of the strangest and most disconcerting features of all that's happened was what staying at home did to us. Our homes were supposed to be places of safety and happiness, but instead they felt more like prisons under house arrest. So much of what we thought we knew has been thrown up in the air.
I grew up in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, and where in the UK a cat might bring you a dead mouse in the mornings, we had a dog who would bring us black mambas on our doorstep.
I'm from South Korea, and it's the hometown of BTS.
I'm from the Czech Republic, which is a country with a population of about London and its suburbs. What's interesting about the country is its national anthem, because the name of the anthem is "Where is my home?" It's actually a song composed in the 19th century, and it describes the Czech lands as paradise on earth.
I was brought up in Downpatrick, County Down, the burial place of St. Patrick, near where the mountains of Mourne sweep down to the sea. In many ways it was idyllic, but it was also overshadowed by the Troubles. 3 years ago, I moved to Wales for work, where, like so many Irishmen before me, I felt like I found my long-lost cousins.
Well, I love how friendly everybody is, but most of all, I love Welsh singing. I think there's something really special about it. There's a passion and an excitement there that I really find encouraging.
I like the nature of Wales the most, and the warm-hearted neighbours.
I definitely like the sort of lush green, the greenery around the vast pastures with animals grazing, sheep and cows. I just love that.
I think I miss my family. I miss the fellowship of us sitting around a warm fire and enjoying food together.
I really miss my mom's cooking and the atmosphere when I spend time with my friends and families.
It's definitely family, and especially my mum. I just miss having these deep relationships with people and the banter, the inside jokes, and just the openness that we can have with one another.
Based on a remarkable true story, the 2016 film Lion recounted how Cymru, a 5-year-old Indian boy, fell asleep on a train and woke up to find himself heading thousands of miles from his hometown to Calcutta. Lost, alone, and unable to find his way home, he was finally adopted by an Australian couple. At university in Melbourne, he began the search for his family, whose faces he could still see 25 years later, until he finally located his childhood village and was able to say, "I'm safe, safe, and the questions have been answered. There are no more dead ends. I found my mother."
We moved around when I was a child, reflected one person. Now, as an adult, I realise that I don't belong anywhere. We can understand that feeling of homesickness, felt by those who have chosen to move overseas. We can appreciate how keenly it must also be felt by the 80 million forcibly displaced people in the world today, and why exiles throughout history, from Cicero to Demosthenes, would weep whenever they look back towards their homelands. But it's not only expats and refugees who experience this ache. This deep yearning for home is also strangely shared by people who have never left.
It's not only individuals that look back to the past with homesickness, but whole nations share the longing for a bygone age of their fatherland. A popular symbol of Portuguese culture is the swallow, which crosses oceans to return to its nest every summer. It's a symbol of the national emotion, saudade, and has inspired great art and music. It's that deep, nostalgic longing for something or someone that is gone and may never be known again. The bittersweet memory of times of happiness and well-being, a feeling of absence and the desire for reunion. In modern Portugal, it's lent itself to nostalgia for the nation's glory days. The national anthem cries out, "Valiant and immortal nation, raise once again today the splendour of Portugal. Among the haze of memory, O fatherland, one feels the voice of your distinguished forefathers." And it's not just Portuguese that gives this feeling a name or sets it to music. We find a similar idea in German, Romanian, Turkish, Tuareg, Ethiopian, Japanese, and in African American culture, the blues. In Japan, the yearning for a long-lost world of the past has flowed through manga and anime. Acclaimed director Hayao Miyazaki believes that anime taps into a worldwide feeling. And it's not only adults that look back nostalgically to the people and places of their past, but as Miyazaki has keenly observed, even children as young as 3 or 4 feel something like nostalgia, a longing for a world without constraints, a world which they've never known. As we get older and become more aware of lost possibilities, the depth of nostalgia increases. We all feel unfulfilled in areas of our lives and dream of another world, a lost world with an infinite vista of possibilities.
People who have moved by choice, people who have been displaced by force, and people who have never moved at all look back with longing. Nations around the world look back and pine for glory days of the past. The young and the old feel the nostalgia for a lost world of the past. What are we all looking for?
We all look down memory lane sometimes to the people and places in our past, to a country where we belonged, where we were safe, to a time when we were loved and could be ourselves, to our place at the table and our mother's knee by the fire. Where does that old memory lane lead? To that magical place with the name which, as Charles Dickens put it, is stronger than magician ever spoke or spirit ever answered to in the strongest conjuration. It's what Laura Ingalls Wilder called the nicest word there is, and as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz finally saw, there is no place like it. It is home.
There's a word in Welsh which encapsulates that bittersweet nostalgia for people and places of the past, the sadness over things long lost, and the desire to go back to the place where we belong. One person described it as the most beautiful word there is. and at the same time, the saddest. I really want to go home, said someone else, but I cannot because my home is my mum. She died last year. I feel that yearning for a place and time I can never return to, confessed another. I first experienced this feeling when I was 4 for a house I lived in when I was 3. Every time my family drove past the house, I wanted to go home, another person shared. I was starting to think I was the only one who felt homesick for some place I've never been, said someone else. It is that strange feeling which haunts individuals and nations across the world, experienced across all age groups by those who've travelled far and not at all. It is the longing of a world that wants to go home. It is Hiraeth.